There's a way to make a woman want you without trying hard, and it's done by doing something that usually requires a lot of work, but when you use the approach that I'll teach you in this video, it happens instantly. Right? So you may have heard that in order to make a woman want you sexually and romantically, and even to feel turned on by you, you need to be able to create an emotional connection with her. And when most guys hear that, they think, oh, geez, we're going to have to talk about emotions with her. We're going to have to get deep. I'm going to have to follow her ever-changing emotions and try to connect with that. Like, that sounds like a lot of work, and it is. But that's not the way to do it, right? When a guy tries to create an emotional connection with a woman in that way, with the hope that she's going to like him or she's going to want him sexually, it will usually mean that he's going to be trying hard to hopefully emotionally connect with her. He's going to try hard to hopefully connect deeply with her, or seem like they are the same or very similar, or show that he really cares about her emotional state and is interested in all the different things that she's feeling. And in almost all cases, the woman's going to pick up on the guy's desperation. She's going to pick up on the fact that he's trying hard to hopefully connect with her in that way. Or if she doesn't pick up on that, to her, it'll feel like they're more like friends, right? There's just that friendly connection where they're able to talk to each other and get along, but there's no sexual spark. So he puts in all that effort of talking to her for hours or maybe even weeks or months, and she doesn't feel the way that he feels. So the solution is actually quite simple, and that is be your normal self, but occasionally push her buttons. I'll give you some examples of how to do it in a minute, but just to explain, when you push a woman's buttons, you essentially are making her feel feminine in comparison to you. You're reminding her that she is the woman and you're the man. You're putting her into that girly, feminine state of being, and that's the type of emotional connection that you create with her. It's a masculine, feminine, emotional connection where, rather than creating a neutral connection, where you're really not more masculine than her and she's not more feminine than you, you're just neutral and you're the same, right? Rather than creating that, you create an emotional connection that is based on how she really wants to feel. And that is, she wants to feel different compared to you. She doesn't want to feel like you and her are the same. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have things in common with a woman, or that it's bad to have things in common with a woman, or that it's bad to be similar in some ways. There's nothing wrong with that. But what she ultimately wants to feel with the emotional connection is that there is a difference between you and her that causes her to feel more feminine around you rather than feeling neutral, or worse, feeling masculine around you. So one way to be your normal self but occasionally push her buttons is to interrupt her with a playful tease. Now, some guys get worried about the word tease because it seems like a rude thing to do, but it has been proven that women not only like it when a man playfully teases them, but it also makes the woman feel more attracted to the man and like him more. Here are some quotes from a study on playful teasing. Women responded favorably when teased by a man and neutrally when teased by a woman. Another quote, teasing is linked in many people's minds to discomfort, embarrassment, or sometimes the tragic effects of bullying. Yet, when women were teased by a man, they interpreted it as flirting rather than as denigration, and denigration means to unfairly criticize someone. Women in general did not respond negatively, and in fact had a positive reaction to being teased by a man. So, for example, when she's talking about something, if you honestly start to feel a bit bored, or if you feel like she's taking a long time to finish her story, you can playfully interrupt her by saying something like this. Sorry, what were you saying? And that then adds some playful friction into the interaction where it's not just you being compliant all the time and listening and, nodding your head about everything and being that puppy dog sort of guy. You're able to make her feel a bit girly in the moment by putting that pressure on her. And you're only playfully doing that. You're not being rude about it or anything, and women get that. And the woman then feels attracted to the fact that you have the confidence to do that and the non-neediness to do that, where you're not being on your best behavior all the time. So another example is if she mentions what her favorite music is. And most guys at that point will say, oh, cool, yeah. So, I like a few of those songs, or I like that music too, or, oh, what do you like about that music? Or have you ever been to a concert? I went to a concert last year and let's just connect. And there's nothing wrong with connecting with a woman if you want to be her friend. Great. Just have a neutral conversation and so forth. But if you want to attract a woman instantly, and not have to put in the hours of work that may land you in the friend zone, then be your normal self, but push her buttons at times. For example, if she said what her favorite music is, you can say something like this. You like that type of music? Lame. I thought you were cool. Or, really? I don't know. I always thought that only weirdos were into that type of music. Or, you like that type of music? Jeez. Up until that point, I thought you were cool, but you've just lost a couple of points with me there. And of course, you're most likely only joking. But you may also be a bit serious, and that can be funny if you can then laugh about it. But she may like a certain type of music that you like as well. And it doesn't mean that when she says that, it's like, oh, we've got something in common now. If I say that I like that type of music and she likes it, we've got things in common, she's going to want me. And then he has a deep conversation with her about that type of music and how, other music these days is just crap. Have you heard the music that they've been putting out? It's crap. Yeah, let's just connect on that, right? And great, connect on things if you want to. If you want to be a woman's friend and spend a lot of time talking to her. But if you want an easy way to attract women without having to try hard and without having to put in all the work of, all right, I've got to try to get this girl to see that we've got lots in common and that I really care about her emotions and what she's into in life. And, tell me about your childhood as well. Let's talk about our childhoods. I'll tell you about mine and we'll connect on that. And a guy who talks about that sort of stuff may have a great conversation with her and he may connect with her about that. But in most cases, if he's doing that as a way to hopefully be liked, he ends up in the friend zone. And then another guy comes along, and you may have noticed this, and within seconds, he makes the woman feel attracted by pushing her buttons, right? Not just trying to get along with her and have a nice conversation and see if you can connect with her emotionally. So the thing is, if you want to get easy results with women, instant results, then save the emotional connection for at least after kissing, but in most cases for after sex, right? Prior to then, if you just focus on making her feel attracted and want you, then it's on, right? It's on between you and her, right? She's feeling attracted to you. She's feeling turned on. She wants you. And all you've then got to do is shoot your shot. But if you want to have a deep emotional connection first, then most of the time it's going to result in a friend zone type of feeling where the woman feels like, okay, there is a connection there, but it feels more like a friendship. So another example is when she's telling you something about herself and she's saying something that's quite impressive or interesting. And rather than just nodding along and, oh, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, great. What happened next? And, oh, that's interesting. Oh, wow. And so forth. Occasionally remind her that this is a man-woman interaction, right? It's not a neutral interaction, and it's not an interaction where you see her as being above you and you have to suck up to her or something like that. But it's a man-woman interaction. You are the more masculine one, and you're not afraid, and you know that she actually wants it, by the way. You're not afraid to occasionally remind her that she is the woman by making her feel girly in comparison to you. So, for example, if she's telling you something about herself, you can playfully interrupt her by saying something like this. Wait, are you just making all this up to impress me? And what do people say when someone asks them a question like that? They usually say, no, like it really did happen. And with a woman, she's going to laugh and feel like you're putting a bit of pressure on her, and she's going to be a bit more girly in the way that she says, no, it really did happen. And you can then just smile and continue on, or you can push her buttons a little bit more and then continue on having a normal conversation with her, right? Be your normal self, have a normal conversation with her, but occasionally push her buttons so she's reminded that it's not a neutral interaction where you see yourself as being just her equal, right? We're just a couple of buddies here, we're equals. No, you're the man and she is the woman. And you can push her buttons at times. You can remind her that she isn't above you in terms of dominance, right? She isn't above you where you feel like you can't say anything like that. You can't push a woman's buttons. You got to be very nice and cordial and polite about everything. And you've just got to listen. And you got to listen to everything that she says, right? If she wants to talk about something for 3 hours, just listen, right? Yep. Okay. Yes. No, don't just listen to that, right? Occasionally say, oh, sorry, what were you saying? And remind her that you're not just going to be neutral. Remind her that you don't feel like she is above you in terms of dominance and that you're afraid. Right? Remind her that you have the confidence, the masculinity, and also the awareness that women want to feel feminine in comparison to you, that you can actually say or do something like that. You're not a guy who is naive, who thinks that he just needs to keep listening, and you're not a guy who's afraid and intimidated by women that you find attractive to the point where you feel like they're above you in terms of value or dominance or importance, where you just, right, okay, I've just got to listen to everything that she says, and if I'm good enough, she might give me a chance. So the thing is, a lot of guys hear that in order to make a woman want you, you have to create an emotional connection, and you really do, but it's not about talking about emotions or being emotional like a woman. Instead, it's based on the way that you make her feel. That's what women refer to as your emotional attractiveness and the emotional connection that you and her have. So the thing is, guys who understand how to create an attractive emotional connection with women have women instantly like them and continue to like them in a relationship, and it's very easy for them to do. It doesn't require the guy to have to spend many hours trying to connect with a woman and create an emotional connection based on her childhood, what her dreams are, and so forth, for her to only then feel bored or see him as a friend. He and her can talk about those things, no problem, but the guy who creates an attractive emotional connection with a woman will also make sure that the connection that he is creating with the woman makes her feel attracted. It makes her feel feminine in comparison to him. And to put it another way, he can talk to her in a normal way, but he just makes sure that he adds something in that causes her to feel attracted or to feel feminine in comparison to him. And if he does that, he's all good. He doesn't really need to do anything else because she really likes him based on the emotional connection that she has with him, the way that he makes her feel. And that's your ticket to success with women when you're single and in a relationship, right? So when in a relationship, for example, a man will often forget what he needs to do. Like, he'll lose his mojo. He'll forget about what he used to do when he was single. And he may become emasculated in the relationship where he loses touch with his masculinity and the woman takes on a more masculine role, or he feels afraid to assert himself or to express himself in a masculine way because he's worried that his woman might get angry. But the thing is, unless a woman is absolutely nuts, right, which is going to be a small percentage of women, she will usually only pretend to be angry as a test to see if he really is that masculine now, if he really has gotten his balls back, where he can actually say something to her to push her buttons. And if she sees that, oh, actually it is legit, he isn't ashamed to be masculine, he isn't afraid, he has remembered that, oh, right, yeah, she wants to feel like a woman in comparison to me, she doesn't want to feel like we're neutral, and she doesn't want to feel like she's above me. She actually wants to feel like she's in the one down position in terms of dominance, right? She doesn't want to feel like she is the more dominant one. And being dominant doesn't mean a man has to go around being very domineering and dominating a woman about everything, but you have to be able to embrace your masculinity and not be ashamed of it. And when you're not ashamed of it, when you're not afraid of it, women automatically feel attracted to you because that's what they're really looking for. They're not looking to feel the same as you. And they're not looking to feel stronger than you, to look down on you and look at you as though you're this little puny man who's hoping to get a chance with her. She wants to energetically be able to look up to you as, oh, right, you're actually a man. You have a masculine energy about you, and that makes her feel feminine in comparison to you. And as a result, she naturally feels attracted to you. She naturally wants you. And that creates the type of emotional connection that makes women feel sexually attracted to you and romantically attracted to you. And then, if you also want to connect with her on a deep level, great. When I figured that out, it became very easy for me to get results with women because I wasn't focusing on spending a lot of time trying to build up a connection first in order to hopefully get the woman to like me enough to then give me a chance with her. Instead, when I focused on making the woman feel attracted, it just gets rid of all the question marks for her of, does she actually feel attracted to you? Because you're making her feel attracted to you. And some guys may wonder, how can pushing a woman's buttons like that make her feel attracted to you? Well, it shows her that you're not afraid of her. It shows her that you're able to make her feel feminine in comparison to you. It shows her that you're not needy to the point where you're being on your best behavior to hopefully get a chance, right? You're emotionally independent enough to playfully push her away like that and not worry about it. You're not afraid that you might lose your chance with a woman if you say something like that. You yawn and pretend to have lost interest in what she was saying during a conversation. Oh, geez. That's rude. You can't say that to a woman. She might not like you as a person. Well, she's going to feel attracted to you because you had the, quote unquote balls to do that. You had the courage to do that. You had the non-neediness to do that. You had the confidence to do that. Those are all traits that make women feel attracted to you. And that doesn't mean that you should constantly be yawning during a conversation with a woman, but it's just an example of how to push her buttons, how to let her see that you're not a needy guy, that you are a confident guy, And initially, for some guys, that may be something that isn't true. They may actually be quite desperate or needy to get a result with a woman, but at least they're being attractive. And when they start being attractive, when they're interacting with women, and they see that most women that they interact with now feel attracted to them, they stop being needy because they realize they can attract most of the women that they meet. So suddenly it's not a guy who's thirsty and absolutely needs a glass of water and he's walking through the desert and he's just really thirsty. All of a sudden he's well hydrated and he can get water anytime he wants, right? He can just talk to a woman and make her feel attracted and not waste time trying to hopefully get her to like him enough as a person. He can make her feel attracted to him right now. He can make her want him without having to try hard.